Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 17 of What If Naruto was sent to the Highschool DxD universe. If you guys enjoyed this What If and want to see part 18 of it, comment down below and let me know. Also check out previous parts of this What If. I have created a playlist for this What If where you can find all the previous parts, the link is in the description. And also go ahead and check out other What Ifs in the channel. Before we start, please do support for more awesome content. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a like. And also check the description for the creator of this great fanfic and support them for making this fanfic. So let's start this video. It was 6 a.m. in the morning and a blue alarm clock woke a certain blonde up. The holidays were over and it was time to go to work. Time to go brave a sea of hormone-crazed teenagers with new clothes, new goals, and a new attitude. It was the beginning of a new term. Scene change. Kuro Academy. Whoa, Tenshi-sama. He's so handsome. Ah, Naruto-sama. As expected, he's smoking hot. Is it his girlfriend? Lucky blondes. Damn bastard. Naruto facepalmed. Some things never get old. Just ignore them. Naruto sighed. Naruto and Martha walked the hall in tow. The female hunter had the standard female Kuro Academy uniform on, with a black backpack on her back. She packed her platinum blonde hair neatly into a high ponytail, and a fringe covered her forehead entirely, some stray strands casting a curtain over her left eye. 2 long curly bangs framed the side of her face. She had no makeup on, but she was still turning heads. Martha moved closer to Naruto, nervous under the stares of the male students. Just ignore them, Murray. Naruto told her. Ah, okay. Naruto took her straight to the admin building. First period, class 3B. It is with great joy I tell you brats, that I am no longer your homeroom teacher. Yes. The whole class chorused and went through a mini celebration of sorts with cake and birthday hats and all. But, I will still be taking biology class. No. The whole class groaned. Introducing a new student will be my last act as your homeroom teacher. Naruto told the students of class 3B. Come in. The bussy girl with chestnut hair tied in twin pigtails came in and introduced herself. Hello everyone, I'm Arina Shido. Please take care of me. She finished, smiling at Naruto. Wow. The boys yelled very pleased with Arina's angel-like voice. Arina. Issei yelled pointing a finger at the reincarnated angel. You bastard. Misuda and Motohama had anime tears rolling down their faces. Issei always knew the female transfer students. Pipe down. Naruto ordered. The whole class went silent instantly. Oh, and your new homeroom teacher is. As if on cue, Rose Swice walked in and introduced herself. Hello, students. I'm Rose Swice, your new homeroom teacher. Yes. The blonde was replaced by Babe. Bonsai. Naruto-sensei stepping down as our homeroom teacher is the best thing to have ever happened to our class. The students cheered. Rose Swice had the decency to cringe while Naruto's eyes twitched uncontrollably. She offered him an apologetic smile. A teacher walking through the corridors heard the commotion going on and sighed happily. Just the man he was looking for. Naruto-san, the sports and physical education teacher quit yesterday. You're the new sports and physical education teacher. The random teacher announced. New? Class 3B groaned. Naruto gave the whole class a dark smirk. Haha, well, students, we will meet again, Naruto cackled, leaving the classroom while rubbing his hands. Bye-bye Naruto-san, Issei and Asia waved the blonde goodbye with smiles on their face. Naruto acknowledged them with a smirk before he left. In an unknown classroom. This classroom looked more like a market than a classroom. The whole classroom was in bad shape, and the students were just lounging around. The class was filled with third-year kids who were the top delinquents of the school, and some of the kids were dubbed the Untouchables because of the powers their parents had. Listen class, today I'm going to introduce your new homeroom teacher. The former homeroom teacher, a pink-haired woman was shaking in her heels. Good for you. A blue-haired boy with a Dragon Ball hairstyle, playing with Dragon Ball action figures with his legs on the table, said. The female teacher gave a strange smile before she continued. Come in, sensei. A mop of blonde hair was what the kids saw before a tall guy entered the class in an orange baggy shirt with black stripes and black pants. Osu, I am. The Dragon Ball figure hit Naruto's chest. Beat it, teach. The blue-haired boy yelled laughing. The boy laughed as he ridiculed the new blonde homeroom teacher. The whole class laughed along with him before an eerie chill descended on the whole class all of a sudden. It was surreal, none of them have felt anything like it before. The kids choked on their spit as no one dared to speak. Naruto raised his head slowly before he asked, who threw that? The class dared not speak as they were afraid of Naruto's cold blue eyes searching for the kid who dared to throw an action figure at him. Hey, punk. Naruto yelled, pointing a hand at the blue-haired boy. On your feet. What's your name? The former homeroom teacher had her mouth wide open. The kid actually listened for once, and it was like he was afraid of something or someone. Takeda, speak up you rotten piece of shit, I can't hear you. The pink-haired former homeroom teacher watched on with a sweat drop. Is it okay for him to use such degrading terms? But it's working, she thought, looking at the bright side. The blue-haired boy stood at attention, raising his hands for a salute. Takeda Sasuke, Dezu. Naruto's pupils dilated a fraction hearing the blue-haired boy's name. Sit down, Super Saiyan Blue. Ha! Sasuke exclaimed before he sat down with a sigh of relief. Now, listen up, you rotten kids. Class 3, a class full of misfits, dullards who somehow made it to the third year of high school. They were legendarily stubborn, and lacked common respect and courtesy for their teachers and fellow students, just cause some of them were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. The principal heard of Naruto's legendary exploits, of how he whipped Class 3B back into shape, and now, the principal hoped he could do the same with Class 3. Thank God, Martha wasn't enrolled in this class. I think I have Martha's class last today. The class I haven't taught before. Naruto was pulled out of his musing, when a disco light descended from the ceiling, and an auburn-haired girl brought out a huge stereo playing metal music at the loudest volume. The whole class jumped up and started dancing to the music. Good luck, Naruto said. Their former homeroom teacher wished Naruto luck with something akin to relief on her face, as she shut the door. It was as if a huge burden was taken off her shoulders, and she even grew a few feet as she walked through the halls with a confident gait. Come on, teach. The auburn-haired girl with blue eyes walked up to Naruto. She barely reached his chest up close. Why don't you relax? And she dipped her hands into Naruto's pockets, whispering sensually, go get yourself a bowl of ramen. Oh, bad choice of words. Naruto Uzumaki could tolerate many things, but having a spoiled brat whispered the revered word ramen so sensually with bad intention was unforgivable. Asia hummed a beautiful tune, as she rocked back and forth taking notes on Rose Swice's teachings until, you shitty brats. She heard Naruto yell as the whole school shook mightily. Earthquake? Misuda yelled, hiding under his table. In Class 3A, the class filled with the most intelligent and well-mannered students. The teacher was elaborating on a topic before the class was disturbed by an earthquake. You shitty brats. The students of Class 3E were all on their knees with their hands up in the air. Now, repeat after me, brats. Naruto yelled, hitting the marker board with a long staff he got from God knows where. Qualities of a good student. The kids held their tongue, showing a last act of defiance. Look at these worthless punks, Naruto said, glaring at them. Repeat after me. He waved the staff threateningly. Yes, they all course. Qualities of a good student. Qualities of a good student. 1. Never call the name of ramen in vain in front of Naruto-sensei. Never call the name of. They stopped when their brains processed what Naruto wrote on the board. I can't hear you. Never call the name of ramen in vain in front of Naruto-sensei. Always listen in class. Complete and submit your assignment at due dates. Never. The surrounding classes peeked through the window and the front door, staring at Naruto's unorthodox way of teaching. Those weirdos, the homeroom teacher of Class 3 scoffed. Only a psycho can take on a group of psychos, Class 3C homeroom teacher remarked. Senpai. Rose Swice blinked in confusion because Naruto looked more like a drill sergeant in the army than a teacher right now, and he looked so gung-ho about it, which she found cute. Scene change. Uzumaki Mansion. Naruto is angry, Kurama said all of a sudden. How do you know? Gaia asked. Call it a gut feeling. You know a lot about Naruto, don't you? I've been with the blondie since his mother's egg and his father's sperm united. What? Nothing. I know he wasn't always like this. What do you mean, Gaia? I mean, he wasn't always a jerk before, right? Kurama sighed with a faraway look on his face. The former Naruto was very likable. If I wanted to describe him, I'd call him his son. Forgiving, nice, compassionate, sympathetic, had a strong sense of justice and a true hero. Naruto. The same Naruto we know. That was when we were in Konoha. The blonde had a huge heart, and he was able to turn foes to friends, enemies to comrades, even me, a self-proclaimed hatred reincarnate. He turned me into a good guy. Naruto changed everything and everyone he touched for better, for good. When did he change? The other Bijuus were present to listen to Kurama talk about Naruto. I think it began around that time, when we went to that place. Flashback begins. Two armored figures equipped with spears did their rounds, as they strolled past making small talk and searching around for any suspicious individuals. Their work was to guard the city gates, and their station was up on the mighty golden gates of the city. As the unsuspecting guards passed through, a black-clad figure vaulted over the steel bars on the walls, landing on a crouch. The figure took cautious steps towards the end of the walls, gazing over the magnificent city. Beautiful. He whispered under his breath, before sliding down the walls into the city. The black-clad being waited until another group of guards moved out of sight, before he moved deeper into the city. The busy streets of the ancient city buzz with different activities going on. Compared to the human world, this one seemed a bit medieval. The inhabitants were humanoid, and they could pass as humans any day, but don't be fooled, they're way stronger than your average humans. Naruto Uzumaki walked the streets of the great city, gazing at the weird tall buildings, and the clothes the inhabitants wore. Thank goodness, he wasn't the odd one out, as many wore cape around the market he was walking by. I told you I'd get in easily. Naruto knew Kurama heard him brag, but didn't deem it fit to reply. Maybe the furball was just sleeping cause that's what he does best. Kurama rolled his eyes in the seal at his Jinchuriki's smug attitude. Since when was Naruto smug? And when did the habit of scoffing begin? Boy Naruto, how are you going to find this ancient spell of a thing? And the last time I checked, you can't cast spells. Kurama roared using the mental link they shared. Sheesh, calm down. One problem at a time. First off, I find the spell and 2, I try to activate it or I'll find someone who can. Naruto replied with a smug smirk. Oh, what happened to him? He's gotten smarter. Kurama wondered. The little boy bumped into Naruto, putting an end to the conversation going on between him and his tenant. Are you okay? Naruto asked the little boy with a smile on his face which morphed to confusion, because he couldn't understand the little boy when he answered in his native tongue. Naruto watched as the boy ran to his mother when she called. Ugh, this is going to be harder than I thought, he groaned. What are you going to do now? His furry partner asked. I don't know, find a place to stay. Learn their language first. Kurama shook his head inside the seal, disappointed. And here he thought the blonde's gotten smarter, but he had gotten his hopes high for nothing. Ah, right. The blonde ninja disappeared out of sight, entering a secluded building. He crossed his fingers, creating 5 clones under a henge to look like the native people of the city. Alright guys, go learn their language, gather info and make me some money. I want info on where the ancient spell might be, the original ordered. Roger. They all saluted, before they dispersed into the city. Naruto exits the secluded building, wandering aimlessly while waiting for a clone to transfer information. He stopped to watch the performers in the marketplace, joining the great crowd gathered to witness the spectacle. Magic, something Naruto thought was pure bullshit, was happening right in front of him. Ever since he was duped by a con artist claiming to be a magician when he was little, he hated magicians, and denied the existence of magic. He scoffed as the leader of the performers, breathed a little stream of fire. He could burn the entire marketplace with a flick of his fingers if he wanted to. And for this round, we will need a volunteer. I assure you, it's not for the faint of heart. The leader of the circus hollered. The leader set a knife on fire before he threw it with precision at a red wooden circle 7 feet away from him, which was hoisted in the air by thin air. The knife hit Bullseye and the people cheered. I could do that if I trained hard enough, Naruto pouted, referring to the floating piece of wood. The leader of the circus stared at Naruto before he laughed, seeing the look of disbelief on Naruto's face. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a volunteer, he said, pointing at Naruto. What? Naruto took a step back before the clown of the circus moved to grab him. He ducked under the huge, hideous man, running circles around him before the circus performer grabbed him. The crowd clapped as Naruto was strapped on the floating piece of wood. Stop this instant, Naruto yelled at the clown. He sighed when the clown ignored him, saying something in that weird language he couldn't understand. The leader smiled before he took out a set of throwing knives. Relax, my dear sir, he said in his native tongue, trying to ease Naruto's struggling form, which had the opposite effect. This is going to be over in a minute. Don't you dare, you fake, Naruto yelled, trying his hardest to break free from the constraint when the leader brought out a set of knives, holding them up for everyone to see. The only woman in the circus threw an apple in the air, and a moment later, the apple was embedded above Naruto's head, the knife piercing through the wood. Oh fuck, Naruto cursed when the knives in the leader's hands caught on fire. The crowd roared, some in excitement and some in fear, but they were pumped up for what was about to happen. Naruto groaned when a particular memory hit him. Stop, he yelled in the native tongue of the people. Everyone laughed at his poor accent, thinking his fear made him forget how to pronounce properly. The leader, Fang, threw the first knife, missing Naruto's crotch by an inch. Naruto doubled his efforts, trying to break free. The woman clogged his mouth with an apple to shut him up before another knife missed his feet. Naruto groaned again as another memory hit him. Move. Make way. 4 soldiers armed with spears in the same golden armor the guards wore, pushed through the crowd searching for Naruto. That's him. A red-haired young woman glared, pointing at Naruto, crossing her hands over her bountiful chest. Naruto sighed when he recognized the woman. God, I hate my clones sometimes, he said with a mix of anger and annoyance. The 4 soldiers rushed to apprehend Naruto. Little help here, furball. The orange fox inside Naruto refused to help. Hey. Kurama. Naruto received silence from the mountain-sized fox. Let it be known that Kurama, the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the almighty 9-tailed fox, the demon fox, hatred incarnate, last born of the Bijuus family, was never one to wiggle his tails every time his Jinchuriki was in danger. Damn it all. The crowd gasped when Naruto disappeared with the proof only to be replaced by a log. Where is he? One of the soldiers asked. The crowd parted, and a crouched black-cloaked figure whispering a mantra of praise be the logs trying to leave the crowd discreetly wasn't that hard to spot. Get him. Naruto yelled and ran for his dear life in an unfamiliar street, while being chased after by soldiers in a foreign land. He'd better get a Medal of Honor for this in Konoha. Earlier, with a clone. Naruto giggled pervertedly, as he peeped on a red-haired woman taking a bath. This is gold, he whispered, like a certain white-haired Sanin would. The lady stood up from the bathtub and reached for a bar of soap, bending her waist, giving clone Naruto a perfect view of her lower assets. Naruto sported a nosebleed instantly and had a dopey look on his face. Haha. Iro-sanin, I'm a believer. He yelled a little too loud. The red-haired woman jerked her head around, looking for the source of noise she heard, before releasing a high-pitched shrill when she saw Naruto. "Oh boy," was the clone's last words before he poofed out of existence. Back in the present in the flashback, I am making sense, right? Sir, he went that way. The red-haired woman pointed at where she thought Naruto ran off to. Naruto yanked at his hair, before he breathed out his frustration. Useless clones. He came out from where he was hiding, dusting the precious gift Yusaka gave him. The cloak reminded him about that one time he stayed in Yusaka's room into the wee hours of the night. Well, that's a story for another chapter. Naruto did the smart thing anyone could do in a situation like this. He turned around and moved the opposite way of his pursuers. He ran for a few seconds and bumped into something strong. "Oof, watch where you're going." Naruto's words of protest died in his throat when he saw the impressive chest of the person he bumped into. He craned his neck upwards, just to see the face of whom he bumped into. Ah dump. His heart skipped a beat. When Naruto's blue orbs made contact with the handsome stranger's golden orbs, dressed in a white suit, his hands beside him trembled, and before he knew it, his body sprang into action. He hopped backwards 5 feet away from the stranger, two kunes in reverse grip, his body already in a defensive stance. The tall, handsome man raised an eyebrow at Naruto's behavior. "Stranger's pov. The idea of fun is to peep on a damsel taking a bath," I said, looking at the sapphire blue orbs of the stranger garbed in a black cloak. I found the cloak rather eye-catching. My eyebrows raised above my white golden hairline when I didn't receive a reply, nor did the blonde boy charge at me. His form was very impressive, at least. "You have not answered my question," I said with a warm smile. A bead of sweat rolled down the young boy's face before he spoke in a foreign language. I'm not a pervert." He was testing if I understood his language. Was he not one of us? "The idea of fun is to peep on a damsel cleaning herself." I spoke using the boy's language. His face lit up and he moved out of his defensive stance with a smile on his face, happy he found someone who understood him. I wondered where the black knives disappeared as he moved his hands behind his back. Maybe he had a pouch or something, judging from the thin strap on his thigh I saw through the open cloak. "Oh, thank God. I didn't intend to, I swear. I'm not a pervert." The boy tried his best to defend himself and I believed him. His eyes were innocent. I walked up to him, and his body tensed up again. I raised my hands and patted him on the shoulder, inadvertently making him flinch. "Don't worry, my friend. It is fun when you are not caught in the act." I laughed at my own joke, but the boy was too busy gazing at my beards. I bet those white golden beards swayed every time I laughed. "Come friend, let us talk over a cup of ale." I yelled excitedly that I will once again drink ale with a new friend. The boy seemed a bit reluctant, but he followed me anyway. Scene change. In a bar. I gestured to my new friend, who was busy as always staring at everything, to take a seat. This time around, he was looking back and forth staring at everyone. He was a great contrast compared to us with his black cloak. I wish he wore something more formal, or he could at least take off the cloak. "My lord, my friend, and owner of the bar we were in," greeted me. He glanced at Naruto before he turned back to me. "I see you brought in a new friend," he said with a smile. "Yeah, I met this guy in the market." I placed my hands on the blonde's shoulders, drawing his attention. We spoke in my native tongue. "Drinks on the house?" "Gardney, my friend, said." "Oh no, I would not want to," I tried to decline. I had enough money to buy the entire bar, but Gardney always does this when I come in with a new friend. It's more of a tradition now. "No my lord, it's all thanks to you that my bar turned into a great establishment like this. Your frequent visits made my bar very famous. This is but a small token of my appreciation, my lord," he said. I smiled and he left to go grab a bottle of ale. "You drink, my friend?" I asked, now using the language he understood. "Drink?" He looked like he considered it. "Why not?" he said. I smiled with a raised eyebrow. He seemed a bit reluctant due to some reason best known to him. "I don't have money on me," he finally admitted. I made a note with my mouth before I chuckled and told him the drinks were on the house. Gardney dropped 2 cups filled to the brim with froth on the table. I chugged the contents of the cup down my throat in record time. I glanced at my friend, who did the same without a grimace, and it looked like my friend could hold his liquor only one way to find out. I nodded at Gardney, who shook his head in return before he went into the storeroom. "What would you like to eat?" I asked my companion. "Anything. I'm not a fussy eater," he replied. "Okay then. I want the best-selling menu today," I yelled in my language. "What did you say?" he asked me. I ordered something. "Do not worry, you will like it," I told him. Gardney sure took his time, because my friend was already wolfing down the food I ordered with joy, before he came in with 4 barrels of ale hefted on his shoulders. I smirked as I heard everyone hoot. "He's the unlucky one who challenged our lord to a drinking contest." A huge man asked, making everyone laugh. In our home, my family is known to be great drinkers, especially my older brothers. It's his new mate, Gardy answered, letting a grunt of effort escape his mouth as he dropped the barrels. This lanky lad. A fat man jeered. Everyone laughed and gathered around us. My friend seemed a bit uncomfortable as he shifted in his seat. Of course he would, they were pointing at him and laughing. What are they saying? My friend asked. You, my friend, have been challenged to a drinking contest. There's no backing down now, I said to him with a smile. The beautiful maiden poured me a drink with a smile and did the same with Naruto, winking at him before wishing him good luck. She wishes you good luck, but I am afraid Lady Luck will not be of help to you today, my friend. I remain undefeated in this spar, I said, drinking the entire contents of the wooden cup in a single gulp. Well, I wasn't entirely truthful. The only ones capable of defeating me are my older brothers. The younger ones are nowhere near me, though. Oh, it's on, my friend replied with vigor and proceeded to drink everything in 2 gulps. I smiled, placing my elbow on the table before resting my jaw on my fist, raising a cup for a toast to friendship. Amazing. They've drunk 10 barrels and the lanky blonde's still going, the fat man said in sheer surprise. My friend glanced at him mid-gulp. I'm sure he's satisfied with the astonished look on the fat man's face as he doubled his efforts. We have drunk 15 barrels now, and I just finished the 16th barrel the same time my friend did. More? I yelled. 32 barrels and my friend was still drinking. Now 64, 72, 86, 99th barrel, he was still up and going. The bar today was filled with screams. The fat man lay on the ground wasted. His last words were, this one might be lanky on the outside, but he's a beast on the inside. My friend got up, opened the last barrel, and brought it to his mouth. Oh, drink it, chug it, chug it. Everyone screamed out loud. I myself was astonished when he started drinking an entire barrel. His cloak soaked with ale, not that I was complaining cause I'm, frankly, in the same state. Ah. My friend slammed the barrel down hard enough to shatter it into pieces, as soon as he finished it. Oh yeah. The huge men in the bar swarmed him, giving nods of approval and pats. Barney, I gave him 2 nods. No, you don't mean, he said before I cut him off. 2 barrels, I said, holding up 2 fingers. The entire bar went silent like someone switched the mute button on when they saw Gardy come in with 2 golden barrels. No way, they yelled. Congratulations, man. You've just entered an entirely different league. A random man congratulated him. The blonde star stared at the golden barrels before he shrugged and took a seat, doing a bring it motion with both hands. I turned my chair so I could face him, and Gardy placed both barrels in front of us. I placed a wooden cup on my barrel and did the same on his. A cup. I poured myself a cup of the golden liquid and drank it all up without stopping, wiping off the golden froth away from my mouth. Do the same, I challenged with a smirk. The blondie poured himself a cupful and took a whiff of it, coughing due to his strong scent. The people laughed and everyone went silent again, all eyes on the blonde boy. He glanced from the cup to me, to everyone before stoning his face and bringing the cup to his mouth. As the golden liquid touched his tongue, he winced badly and shut his eyes tight. I counted the number of gulps it took him to finish an entire cup. 6 gulps, very impressive. Very, very impressive, I thought. The people on the other hand, I'm sure the people living around the area would have heard their screams. My friend just became a legend. That's strong stuff, he said, more like he yelled. It sure is, I replied. And no more, he conceded. I win this round, I said, smiling, and a bit tipsy. That's some strong stuff Gardy brought in. It's a drink reserved for my family or people who have great alcohol tolerance. Alright, blonde lad, care for some arm wrestling? A huge man, probably a soldier judging from the garb he wore, asked. Bring it on, my friend said with a hiccup. Place your bet. I turned around to look at the youngin who said that. He's this small and already knows how to make money. I decided to place a bet on my friend, me and a lady, while the rest had their bet on the dude who challenged my blonde friend. It ended badly with the blondie out on top. Others challenged him, but they all failed. Who's next? He screamed in a fashion I never thought he could. Maybe the golden ale was messing with his head. I think he is high, I thought, seeing him wobble on his feet as he did a victory dance. I raised an eyebrow when everyone stared at me as if saying, kick his ass, show him his place. I relented nonetheless. Better get this over with. I felt sorry for my friend cause there's no way he could win. With a sigh I stood up from where I was, a cup of ale in hand, and sat on the previous challenger's seat. I placed my elbow on the table and spread my fingers wide. The blonde boy grabbed my hand with a smirk of his own. His grip was quite strong for someone lanky, his eyes sharp, waiting for the slightest change. Here's the end of the line for you, lad, Gardy said, placing a hand on his shoulder. Place a bet. As expected, everyone placed their bets on me. My friend, appalled because no one placed a bet on him, voices out his displeasure. Wow, I bet on myself then, he said, put out by the lack of supporters, placing a coin on the table. The little boy collecting the bets picked it up with a shrug and said, well, that's an extra coin for me. Everyone laughed, myself included, except the blondie. Silence descended on the bar as me and my blonde friend grabbed each other's palms. Begin. The moment someone said those words, my friend pushed with impressive speed, and my hand was just an inch away from the table before I stopped it. Very impressive as always, my friend, I said before I pushed his hand back to the point we started easily. What is wrong? Will you not push back? I taunted, making everyone laugh. I took a sip of ale from the cup in my other hand to add to his ire. I'll show you. He hollered in determination. His pushing power doubled all of a sudden, and my eyes picked up a faint trace of blue surrounding his hand down to his elbow. I squinted my eyes at his hand, and the blue wasn't surrounding his hands anymore. I guess I was seeing things. Crack. The crack appeared on the cup I held. Guess I was gripping it too hard. I hiccuped. We were like that for a while at a stalemate, and the crowd was getting restless. Oh? The guys exclaimed. Now this is interesting, I might actually have to put in a little effort. Both our hands shake due to the force clashing around. I upped my effort and pushed Naruto back to the situation I was in a moment ago. His hands now a millimeter away from touching the table. This is it, my friend. I want to know the name of the one I had so much fun with today, I said. Finish him. Finish him. I want my money. They all screamed, and then, the screams, the yells, and all the commotion in the bar gradually decreased in volume, and it became so silent I could have heard a pin drop. It's Naruto Uzumaki, Dadabayo. Naruto replied, his bangs covering his face. I pitied him, and almost wanted to lose, just to make him happy, almost. Naruto Uzumaki Dadabayo. I repeated mentally. I will always remember it, I said before giving a little push to end it all. I wondered, shaking my head. His hand was still a millimeter away from the tabletop, and I had to push again just to confirm. His hand stayed stationary, unyielding, firm. The new source of strength perplexed me. I experienced it before I felt it. He is flickering in and out of my senses, I thought, alarmed. I was the only one who noticed. I narrowed my eyes at the blonde and continued pushing back. He pushed my hand back little by little, gaining ground. His face still hung down till we were at a stalemate back at where we began. His presence has disappeared. He is right there, in front of me, but I can barely sense him. Yeah, you do well to remember it, cause I'm gonna win, he declared with fire in his voice, and then explosive strength followed. It came out of nowhere. What the? My eyes widened to epic proportions. I had to drop the cup in my hand to match the crazy burst of power, and I was barely able to match it. A grunt of effort escaped my lips, making the people present gasp. I can't believe it, but Naruto's hand wouldn't budge no matter how hard I try. I took a deep breath and exhaled gently. My face morphed to a serious one, and I took the arm wrestling seriously. Crack. The table will. Boom. A shockwave traveled around the bar due to the force exerted on the table. The table was in pieces under our joined hands. Oh no. The ones who placed bets on me exclaimed dejectedly. It's a draw. Naruto finally brought his head back up, and I could see his sapphire blue orbs twinkle with satisfaction. I could sense his presence clearly once again. He leaned forward, breathing hard from all the exhaustion caused by arm wrestling with almost everyone in the bar. What the? It's already late, he said when he looked out the window. You did not notice? I asked. Yes, I was having too much fun, he said. I watched as he shifted in his seat. His expression turned from tipsy to dazed to aghast in 3 seconds. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Thank you for everything, stranger-san, he yelled, thanking me as he ran towards the door. Wait, I have not introduced myself yet. He was already gone, before I finished my sentence. I sighed dejectedly. My lord, I hope you had fun, Gardy asked me. I did, I said. Gardy, have you ever seen that kid around before? I asked. No. This is my first time meeting him with the weird language he speaks, and his bad accent, Gardy replied. I laughed at the bad accent part. He speaks a language from the human world. The human world. So he's been there. Very few of us venture there. Thanks for today, Gardy. My lord. I walked home the rest of the night thinking about my brother's reactions, if they learned about Naruto. The next day, early morning. Normal Pav. Ugh. My head, Naruto groaned, holding his head in pain. Where am I? He asked no one in particular as he sat straight, scratching his chest, yawning as he did. God, what is that smell? Naruto grimaced, sniffing the air, trying to locate the source of the foul smell. He coughed when he took a whiff of the precious black cloak Isaka gave him. He stank of alcohol. Did I drink? He pondered before the voice of his partner interrupted him. Nice going, brat. Kurama. What happened yesterday? What happened? What happened? Don't you remember anything? Kurama roared. Shush, please stop yelling. Kurama's booming voice only helped to increase his headache. Wade Naruto's face morphed from pain to horror. Across Hansu later. Proof. Reporting for duty, boss. The clone couldn't finish his sentence courtesy of a fist to the face from the original, dispelling it instantly. Arg. I'll just, calm down Naruto, you can handle this, you're Minato's son, believe in yourself. Now you remember. Kurama said. Okay, the good news is I can speak a new language, crude but it'll do for now. The bad news, I'm wanted. For peeping on a hero's daughter. Naruto stopped his rant for a moment, a thoughtful look graced his face. Wait, my stupid clone did it. I didn't do anything. My clone did it all but I don't think they'd believe me, if I told them. Maybe they'd believe me, if I gave them a demonstration. Ack, my brain hurts. I think he's finally lost it. Kurama wondered out loud. I can hear you, and I'm perfectly sane. I need to Another memory from one of his clones hit him hard. Hey, I know where to find the ancient spell. Naruto's face lit up. The city's library. Naruto told his tenant. Have fun investigating. I'm gonna take a quick nap. Lazy furball. Scene change. Naruto sat in one of the many seats inside the library, staring at literal jargons. He couldn't read the weird language. Curse a language barrier. How am I supposed to read this? Naruto pulled his hair in frustration before banging his hands on the table. Isn't that? Yeah, Black Cloak. He stinks. Naruto's ears picked up whispers from around the library. This place wasn't safe anymore. The shinobi left the library hoping he'd be able to come another day when he fully grasped how to read their language. Naruto decided to visit Guardy's bar, optimistic about an encounter with the nice friend he made yesterday. I don't even know his name, Naruto thought. Outside Guardy's bar, shops close. Kurama said, looking at the bar through the link he shared with Naruto. The dobe of the ninja academy turned around on the balls of his feet, spotting 6 guards armed with mean-looking spears. 3 guards plastered a piece of paper on a wall. Naruto looked around and spotted the same piece of paper around. Have you seen this suspicious person? The guard, who had a weird-looking helmet, asked a passerby. Yes, yesterday. He was inside that bar. He pointed at Guardy's bar. Naruto moved towards the piece of paper to take a clear look at what was written on it. He gasped when he saw what was on it. The shinobi looked left, looked right before he tried his hardest to move out of sight. He didn't understand what was written on the paper, but his poorly drawn image on the paper sure as hell rang warning bells in his head. Hey wait, that's him. The passerby pointed at Naruto's back. Blasted antagonistic passerby. Naruto cursed mentally. The lone ninja disappeared and one of the guards gave chase and others followed suit. Naruto sighed thinking he'd lost them before coming out of hiding. A white narrow beam zipped past him making him stop. He turned around, and his pupils dilated when he saw a floating boat with a guard on deck. He looked back and saw the white beam drilled a hole right through the concrete wall, and the edges were still red and smoking. He stared on with wide eyes as concrete melted like cheese and fell off the wall. Run, his partner advised. Naruto did just that. The floating boat gave chase, easily keeping up with Naruto who was on land. Naruto took a sharp left and another right before he hit the brakes skidding to a halt. 3 more ships were floating in the air, their artillery aimed at him. Some of the soldiers on the silver-colored boat were equipped with guns. Stop right there. Identify yourself. The guard yelled into a microphone. Naruto searched frantically for an escape route. Finding none, he created one himself, slamming a Rasengan into the nearest wall and disappearing into the tall building. After him. Naruto kept glancing behind him, while ascending the building from floor to floor. He could hear the hurried footsteps of the soldiers after him. He ran into a room closing the door shut, tripping over a sofa and sending the contents on a table to the rug-covered floor. The walls were painted cream, and the furniture looked like that of humans on Earth. The doorknob twisted open with a click, and a silver-haired woman walked in on Naruto. A suspicious person in my apartment, who are you? She asked. A knock on the door stopped Naruto's intro. The white-haired woman stared at Naruto's pleading look with caution, ignoring the knock on the door, contemplating whether to rat him out or not. Naruto moved to the side of the door, so the soldiers after him wouldn't spot him. The old woman grabbed the knob and opened the door, hiding Naruto away from sight. Everything alright? She asked, totally calm. A suspicious person has entered the building. Have you seen this individual? He fished out a rough portrait of Naruto. No, I haven't, she replied. Please stay in your room while we investigate. The soldier said. I will. She promptly shut the front door. She spared a sideways glance at Naruto before she spoke. What did you do, boy? I peeked. I see tiny girl was ugh. Naruto tried to explain using his little knowledge of the native tongue, but failed miserably. The white-haired woman crossed her hands over her chest, and 8 magic circles levitated in the air above her. I'll ask again, what did you do, boy? She repeated this time with an icy edge to her tone. I peeked in person, I mean to not, swear. The woman raised an eyebrow at Naruto's words, she barely understood him. Who did you peep on? She asked. The daughter's Herc, red hair, this long great chest, Naruto described. Annie? Why Annie of all people? Who? Naruto asked, earning himself a slap on the head. You didn't even know who you peeped on. The hero Sifri would skin you alive. I'm sorry. The white-haired woman took her time to study Naruto. He had strange markings on his face similar to whiskers, a black cloak on, boots, and his clothes stank of ale. One would think he was a traveler at first glance. His blonde hair made him stand out because very few had blonde hair in the entire city. "Well, I don't think you're a pervert, so you pass," she said, dispersing the magic circles. "You stink, boy, don't you wash." Naruto had the decency to look squeamish. "I have place not to sleep and wash body clothes. The bathroom is in there," the white-haired woman sighed, pointing at a room. "Thanks, old lady," Naruto said, earning himself another slap. This one hurt more than the last one. "I'm not old, boy," she corrected. "Boy, not I," Naruto replied. "How old are you?" she asked. Naruto sealed his lips shut, denying her an answer. He hurried to the bathroom to wash off. "You can have this. It was my son's." She threw a brown pants and an ash-colored shirt at Naruto unceremoniously. "Thank you." "Your son, where is he?" Naruto asked, earning himself another slap yet again. Naruto gritted his teeth, trying to control his anger. "Are you dumb or what? He's dead. He died serving our great lord," she said with a melancholic look on her face. "So, was he a brawler?" Naruto asked as he grabbed the helm of the shirt and pulled down. The shirt didn't quite fit, but luckily, the pants did. "Are you dim-witted or what, boy?" she asked with a raised eyebrow. "Given the way you speak. A fighter, a stronger, a soldier?" Naruto asked again, trying different words to convey his meaning. "Yes, come here, your words and accent sucks," she said. Naruto moved to where she was, and almost jumped back, when she grabbed his head. A magic circle spun around his head, and disappeared after it did its work. "Do you understand me now?" she asked. Naruto's face lit up. "Finally, I understand you. Thank you very kindly for helping me. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, nice to meet you. If you don't mind, I have to wash my clothes. Can I wash them in the bathroom?" Naruto fired a barrage of questions in the old woman's language. Slap. "One question at a time, doofus." She slapped Naruto hard this time. "How can I understand everything you say if you rush things like that? You could have told me instead of slapping me." Naruto fired back, getting annoyed. "Oh, so now you think you can talk back to me, boy?" she yelled, entering his personal space. "I'm no boy, old hag," Naruto replied, moving even closer. He could feel the woman's breath on his face, but didn't care one bit. He's faced people who'd make her piss her pants. He wasn't a boy, as she eloquently called him. "Oh, so you want to hit me? Ha, lemme see you try," she said with her arms folded. "Can I just wash my clothes in peace? Kuzo Baba." "What did you say?" "I called you a Baba." "What's a Baba?" "I am not gonna tell." Slap. The young boy and old woman bickered back and forth until the old woman narrowed her eyes at him and dropped the bomb on him. "You're not one of us, are you?" she said all of a sudden. Naruto almost choked on his saliva. "I don't know what you're talking about," Naruto lied. "I tried to look through your memories, but something was blocking me, so I didn't see much, but I saw a blonde-haired woman patting your head on her lap," she said. "Hey, that's personal," Naruto yelled indignantly. "Fuck you, Kurama. Haha. I don't know what one of Yusaka's lapdogs is doing here, but you've got a lot of explaining to do. You went through my memories. I had to. You're a complete stranger affiliated with the Yao case. Are you perhaps a spy?" she asked. "No, I'm not," Naruto said. "What are you then? 'Cause you're surely not one of us." Flashback end. I think it was around that time that it began. I still don't know why that place affected him that much or the name of the place. Kaguya scoffed. "That's a long story for next time. He's back." True to Kurama's words, Naruto barged in, making a beeline for his room. "What happened to him?" Kaguya asked Kurama, but met thin air. "The Chibi Beach kid disappeared. I think he had a bad day," Martha answered, coming in. "Thank you, Gayuni-san, the bento was delicious." "Oh, don't mention it, cutie." They heard Naruto yell and the sound of glass breaking. "Was it that bad?" "Someone called the name of ramen in vain," Martha told the goddess. "Oh, scene change. Kuo Police Department." "What are you talking about, John?" the chief police officer asked John as he flopped into his chair. "I want to recommend a consultant for our interrogation department," John said, taking a seat. "John, who is this consultant and why do you think he's fit for the job?" 9 out of 10 times, he can tell when someone's lying. He's like a living lie detector. 9 out of 10 times doesn't cut it. I want 10 out of 10, a perfect score, the chief police replied. "Just give him a chance, boss. I assure you he won't disappoint." The boss seemed to contemplate it, stroking his goatee, before he said, "Let me see him in action first." "Thank you, boss." John chuckled mentally. Now that he's gained his boss's approval, all that is left is to convince the blondie. Which was easier said than done. Scene change. Night. Naruto was out taking a stroll to blow off some steam. He walked for a while before he started jogging, and now he was sweating and feeling a bit dehydrated. He entered a convenience store looking for a cool, refreshing drink. "Boy, give me your best revitalizing drink," Naruto ordered, drumming his fingers on the table waiting on the drink before someone called his name. Oh, Naruto-senpai. Rose twice yelled, her face lighting up when she saw the blonde. Naruto raised an almost unnoticeable eyebrow at Rose twice. Hello. Rose twice's green orbs reflected confusion. What are you doing here? It's a convenience store. I came to buy something, Naruto replied slowly, confusion and disbelief on his face. What else do you do in a convenience store? Here you go, customer. The salesgirl extended an expensive beer at him. The shinobi was about to take it from the girl's hand before. No. It's too expensive, don't buy it. Rose twice yelled. The blonde ninja looked at Rose twice, raising both eyebrows at her. Rose twice dipped her hand into her pocket before she brought out a pack of vitamin C. If you want a refreshing drink, you should try these. They are healthy, easy to digest, and most importantly, she raised a finger to show how important her next words were. They are cheap and affordable. The customer just came in. Naruto just stared at her, frozen and unmoving. His expression was one of suspicion. Rose twice blinked twice upon seeing that he won't take the vitamin. Her face fell, and her hands followed. Naruto didn't need Kurama's ability to know that Rose twice was sad. He snatched the vitamin from her hand, gripping it tight. Thanks. I'll keep it, he replied. Naruto tried to pass by without touching her, which proved challenging because the way out was narrow. He successfully went past her before he looked back, staring at Rose twice, confused by her behavior as he walked out of the store. He waited a while, seeing her stare at another drink longingly, before she sighed and moved on. Naruto watched as she picked some products, and tried to bicker over the products she picked with the salesgirl. He bit his lips and snorted to suppress a laugh as the salesgirl deadpanned at the Valkyrie, as said Valkyrie kept on bickering. The salesgirl placed everything in a nylon bag and shoved it into Rose twice's hands before opening her palm. Naruto read the salesgirl's lips as she glared and said something to Rose twice. She said, "That'll be 1,099. Rose twice gave the salesgirl 1,099 reluctantly, before she left with another sigh. What a miser. Naruto remarked, clicking his tongue, while shaking his head in disappointment. He hadn't even taken a few steps, before he heard his name again. Naruto-senpai. Let's go home together. Rose twice yelled, running after him. Ha! We're not that close, so why is she insisting on going home together? Naruto whispered to no one in particular. He waited nonetheless until she caught up to him. Rose twice gave him a huge grin, taking a breath from running. They both walked in relative silence towards their neighborhood. The kids were very cooperative today. Rose twice spoke up. My kids? Naruto questioned before he realized she was talking about Class 3B. I bet they were, especially the boys. How did you know? Rose twice gasped. Having a pretty woman in class tends to get them in shape, Naruto said. Rose twice had a little blush on her face. Naruto just called her pretty, even if he did it indirectly, though it seemed like the blonde either didn't notice or didn't care. How about yours? She inquired. Let's not talk about them, those worthless brats. Naruto sighed. Senpai, Rose twice frowned, a look that Naruto would come to know as a sign of a moral lesson from the Valkyrie. You're a teacher and it's wrong to call your student names. What? It reflects badly on you. That's why you have a bad reputation among the students and teachers. You fangirls exempted. Rose twice whispered the last part. Listen here, if you were Class 3's homeroom teacher, you'd have blown a gasket and started calling them names by now, just like how I am doing. Not every small problem can be solved with discipline, you know. You have to talk to them sometimes. Ha! As if those brats actually listen. Senpai. What? You should try to talk to them, and I promise you, they'll change for the better. Okay, fine. I'll try to talk to them. Happy. Rose twice nodded beside Naruto, and they continued trekking in relative silence. Oh, senpai, if you are looking to buy things at a cheap price, you should try the 100 yen shop. Naruto stopped for a moment to ask himself a question mentally. Do I look poor? He made a mental note to look at himself in the mirror when he got home. Rose twice noticed Naruto had stopped for a moment, so she turned around. It's true, the 100 yen shop sells things at an affordable price. Okay? Naruto nodded, knowing what to say, before he resumed trekking, and Rose twice followed suit. It wasn't long before Issei's 6-story house was visible in the distance along with Naruto's house beside it. Well then, good night senpai. Rose twice waved Naruto off with a smile. Naruto waved over his shoulder before he disappeared out of sight. I think the legends about him being cold and unapproachable are blown out of proportions. He seemed nice, Roswius remarked before she entered the Haidu's house. The next day, Kuo Academy. What are you runts doing? A voice asked, suddenly. A trio of perverts exclaimed, suddenly. Issei, Mitsuda and Motohama were busy leering at jiggling breasts of all kinds of perkiness and sizes. They didn't exempt anyone as they gathered together to leer at the ladies jiggling jugs in Kuo Academy's gym clothes. Sensei. Dismiss. The perverted trio scurried away with Issei running towards Asia, to practice the three-legged race. Oi, Naruto, Kurama tried to warn Naruto. Yeah, I felt it. Naruto stared at the retreating trio, his stare lingering on Issei. The dark aura is around him and that Gremory kid. Evening, somewhere in Kuo. Naruto was pacing back and forth a distance away from a shop whose sign read 100 yen shop. He's been pondering on what to do for the past 10 minutes. Should I check it out? Should I not? What am I even doing here in the first place? Let me check it out. Naruto pushed the door open, his eyes darting back and forth, accumulating the smallest of details about the shop. Is she broke or something? Naruto wondered, looking at the super cheap products everywhere in sight. Senpai. Naruto almost jumped when he heard Rose Swice's voice behind him. What are you doing here? He asked. What are you doing here? Rose Swice fired back. Naruto ended up paying for his and Rose Swice's groceries, after defeating an adamant Rose Swice who wanted to pay for her groceries. The girl wanted to pay for her groceries so bad, but Naruto was having none of that. The moon was out and they walked back home in relative silence again. Naruto, for once, offered to carry her groceries, but the Valkyrie turned him down with a smile. So, do you visit that shop frequently? He asked. I see. Naruto pondered on asking her if she was broke or if she needed money, but threw that thought out the window. The girl might take it the wrong way and he'd have a berserk Valkyrie among the endless list of people who found him repulsive. He didn't want that. Is it getting cold or is it just me? Rose Swice asked, rubbing her arms. It's cold tonight. I watched the weather forecast. Naruto remarked. Rose Swice was freezing, he noticed. He stared at the jacket he had on, and Rose Swice's bare shoulders exposed to the cold breeze. The Valkyrie caught him staring at her exposed shoulders, and she almost cursed because she wanted to wear another blouse tonight. She had a cream blouse with a pleated skirt on. She subconsciously rubbed her shoulders, and Naruto tightened his jacket around his body in a possessive manner, leaning away from her. The thought crossed his mind, but he squashed it down with a six-paths ultra big bowler Sengun, the thought of him covering her with his jacket. Rose Swice on the other hand sighed dejectedly. Men just don't levitate towards her. She had it all, looks, brain, body, character, but no man would spare her the time of the day, and now, her own colleague, her blonde handsome colleague, wouldn't even spare her a jacket to keep her warm in the cold. She was finally convinced it was a curse. Her lack of a boyfriend. Sliverish white hair drifted gently in the wind. Naruto stared at it discreetly. He's seen the same shade of hair somewhere, but couldn't recall where. They both walked all the way home, and Naruto couldn't help but be tempted to shunch home, because it seemed like they've been walking forever. After walking some more, they finally reached their neighborhood. Naruto walked her to the front door and waited till she closed the door behind her. Good night, senpai, she greeted without luster. She was down. Naruto noticed but didn't say anything. He nodded at the sliver white-haired woman before they parted ways. John had a huge smile on his face, as he searched around the kitchen, while waiting for Naruto to come home, where he saw a pack of vitamin on the counter. John took a glass cup and filled it with water. He was about to drop the vitamin into the cup when Naruto opened the front door. I'm home, Naruto announced, heading towards the long couch. Naruto ni Naruto-chan, his female housemates greeted. Oh, hey Naruto. John waved at him in a giddy manner all of a sudden. Naruto sighed, giving everyone a glance before he froze, giving John a once-over. Naruto yelled, putting his hand forward in a dramatic fashion, watching in slow-mo, as John raised the cup to his mouth. Instantaneously, Naruto appeared in front of John and took the glass cup from the detective before he could drink it. It's mine, he yelled, holding the cup to his chest. The housemates raised an eyebrow at his weird behavior. Come on Naruto, it's vitamin. Lem have some. No, it's mine. Go buy some for yourself, if you want some. Naruto raised his nose at John, before he grabbed the vitamin on the counter. It's mine. Mine, Naruto glared at John as he walked into his room with the cup and vitamin. The door creaked gently and closed with a clink as Naruto shut the door. What a weirdo. His housemates said in unison, shaking their heads at the same time. John made a beeline towards the fridge, and both ladies turned their attention back to the soap opera they were seeing before Naruto's outburst. What a psycho, he made me forget about my offer for him. John spat. Naruto stared at the cup of vitamin, as if it was some kind of bomb before he sighed. Just a sip, he said before he reached out for the cup. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. And also check out the playlist that I have created, and enjoy. Link is in the description. See you in the next video. Peace.